So, I've been playing the Scarlet Nexus demo and I wanted to give you guys some first impressions and opinions on it. But before I do, I want to give a big thanks to all those new subs that came through from my recent Biomutant review. I got a lot of kind words from people and probably far more views than I deserved, so cheers very much for that. And please believe me when I say I appreciate all the views, all the thumbs ups, all the subs, and even the constructive criticism, so please do keep it coming. We're real close to the second channel goal right now of 100 subscribers, so if you're not subscribed right now, I hope today will be the day that I earn your support. But with that said, let's get back to Scarlet Nexus. So, the demo actually came to the Xbox first on the 21st of May, I believe, and it was exclusive there until the 27th, at which point it became available on the PlayStation and I think on some other platforms as well. I'm actually playing this on the PS5, so that's the footage that you're seeing in the background. So I guess the first thing really we should talk about is, what is Scarlet Nexus? It's an upcoming action RPG from Bandai Namco and plays in a similar style to something like Devil May Cry, Bayonetta, or even something like Transformers Devastation, if anyone remembers that one. It's being presented in what they're calling a brain punk style, and it's set in the far future where humans have developed these kind of psychic powers, and they've also developed some advanced tech that allows them to focus these psychic powers into kind of offensive abilities. There's things like pyrokinesis that imbues your weapon with fire, or teleportation that allows you to phase through certain barriers to access hidden areas. It's some pretty cool stuff. You'll also notice the obvious ability to throw objects at your enemies, and that one is kind of always available. It's sort of built into your standard combos a lot of the time. And before I go any further with this, I think one thing I really need to tell you guys about, if you find when you're playing this that the camera is being really weird or the game just feels really strange, go to the options and turn off camera tracking. It's a night and day difference. It was almost bad enough to turn me off from playing this game entirely. It just felt so awful to play. The default option actually made me feel a tiny bit motion sick, but I feel perfectly fine when it's off, so I think that was the problem. Also, while you're there, turn off motion blur because, you know, it sucks. The enemies are very, very weird. They're sort of like these plant creatures called Others, which is kind of a generic name, but it also sort of perfectly suits them at the same time. I don't know, it's just kind of weird. Apparently they've been around for hundreds of years at the point where you start playing Scarlet Nexus, and they seem to have some sort of overwhelming desire for human brains. Now, I have no idea whether they want to eat them, look at them, or just kind of collect them for their alien collector's shelf, but either way, the demo doesn't really explain it to us for obvious reasons, because I suspect it'll be in the main game. Story-wise, I wonder if it'll be something along the lines of, you know, humans have gained these super powerful psychic abilities and either accidentally created these others somehow or something like that, I'm not really sure, or kind of attracted the others' attention due to the nature of their powers and they've come from, you know, another planet or something. I don't really know. Maybe it's a little bit like a Lovecraft cosmic horror thing with a twist. Again, really don't know, but it is really kind of fun to speculate on what it might be about. So you play as one of two different characters that have just joined the OSF, or the Other Suppression Force. They actually have varying stories, different playstyles, and teams of support characters, which is pretty cool. They do cross over during the story, and they do tread a bit of the same ground, but I think that's perfectly fine. The male character is Yuito Sumeragi, and the female is called Kasane Randall. I won't go into exactly who they are and what they're all about, but they do indeed play differently. Yuito uses a sword and focuses on more close combat and recovery skills, whereas Kasane uses psionically controlled flying daggers and is more of a mid-range attacker with a focus on agility. At this point, I've played through the demo I think 4 times, twice with each character, and the demo has 2 separate gameplay paths, again one for each character, but the end boss and the story beats are basically the same across both. The 2 maps you fight through are kind of like 2 different areas of the same larger location, if that makes any sense, and I think they do a good job of showing that kind of brain punk aesthetic that they're going for. It really does work. There's lots of holographic advertisements and signposts that in the lore of the game aren't actually there, It's just that your characters can see them because of the way that psychic abilities have been integrated into daily life in this world, and that's a kind of interesting concept to me. It's sort of like the augmented reality apps that we have now, you know, things like Pokemon Go, for example, except it's all happening in the character's brain psionically rather than through a phone or something. It's really interesting to think about, and I think it looks really good while you're playing. There's a ton of stuff you don't really get to interact with too much in the demo, like acquiring different weapons and items, as well as a big skill tree and a bonds system, you know, a friendship kind of system that acts a bit like the one from Persona 5. And I'm really looking forward to trying all of that out. Honestly, I wasn't too excited for this game when I first saw everything to do with it, but after playing the demo, I think I'll actually buy it and give it a go. I'll probably review it as well, but as I don't get review codes currently, it might have to be a few days after the release of the game before I can actually produce one. I actually got lucky with my last review of Biomutant because I got it early, but who knows, it could happen again. We'll have to wait and see. So overall, what are my impressions of the demo? Well, I think graphically, you know, on a technical level, it looks fine. The characters all look great, but the environments, like buildings and backgrounds and stuff, aren't really that great. Luckily, the art direction and the brainpunk stuff dotted around these places really elevates a somewhat bland looking area and adds a great deal of personality, which I really appreciate. I played with English voices and I felt that they were perfectly fine. I had no issues with it whatsoever. The music on the title screen was really nice and the battle music suits the situations pretty well. One cool thing is that if you complete Yuito's playthrough, there's actually a music video of the game's theme song called Dream in Drive by a band called The Oral Cigarettes. It's kind of a weird band name, I suppose, but I actually really like the song within the context of the game. It really suits it quite well. I'd say that the combat was fun, you know, activating all the team abilities and throwing stuff around felt pretty good, although I did find it difficult to tell when the enemies were doing some attacks. Not all of the attacks seem to be telegraphed that well. And another issue, I mean, I say it's an issue, it's not really, but I found that you can't cancel out of an attack to dodge. So you have to be a little bit less aggressive, I found, than in something like Devil May Cry. I'll probably get used to it over time, but at first I kept trying to cancel out of the dodge just from muscle memory. I'm just kind of used to doing that in games. And you'll probably see me get smacked around a lot in the footage for being too greedy and forgetting to move away at the right time. But the enemies are pretty cool looking and pretty interesting. I really want to know what their origin is and why they look how they do and why they want human brains. And also, while we're on this subject, why does this one look like a bouquet of flowers just stuck onto some goat legs? I have absolutely no idea what this is. And look, it's wearing high heels. I mean, what is it? Really, what is this? I just can't think of any explanation as to why this would look the way it does, but I'm hoping that they explain it in the main game, but it's still cool nonetheless. But yeah, you can probably tell that I'm quite into the story. I mean, well, what little of it we actually know of at the moment, but I'm interested to learn more about the enemies, the world, the characters, and the gameplay seems fun enough that it will be worth playing. So yeah, I think I'll pick this up on day one and try to get a review out as soon as possible for you guys. And if any of you have played the demo, let me know what you think about it. Will you be buying it on day one, waiting for some reviews, or are you just not interested at all? However you feel, comment down below. If you're looking for some retro games, please check out Pyro Games. There'll be a direct link to the store in the video description, along with a discount code that gives you 10% off your order. Remember to give a thumbs up on the video, subscribe if you want to, and with all that said, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.